So women want women that I've talked to about the idea of plate spinning.
Yeah.
I think it's some sort of horrible thing.
I don't know why you would discuss the concept of plate spinning with women, but okay.
No. I talk to women I have no interest in.
My query still stands, but okay.
Anyways, I brought it up to some. Okay, we'll be more clear. It was in a group setting where there were men and women. They were asking about red pill, and I talked about plate spinning, and the women were immediately like, "I would never date a guy like that." And I'm sitting there like, "Yeah,
yes, you
would." I didn't say that, but I was just gauging the reaction. Like the guys were very quiet on the subject. They're kind of like, okay. And there was a guy there that's like very much like, quote unquote respect women. That was like, oh yeah, I've done that. Dating multiple women non-exclusively. And I'm like, okay, cool. Anyways, brought this up and they're like, I wouldn't do that. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, you would. But then I'm also like navigating the online dating of, all these women with their army of men that are purchasing their Snapchats, whatever. It's almost like there's a hierarchy. There's like a structure within it. So you get this one chick that's obviously selling herself through premium Snapchats and stuff. Some of them I've actually found they'll actually post like little preview videos in their Snapchat, like this is what you get. Yeah, obviously, they're putting a bunch of stuff to block out and censor it.
Yeah. They do that on Instagram too.
Yeah, and so they're doing this, and then they'll show a couple of them where they're actually like fucking a dude, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, why do I want to see that? But I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's almost like, so you get the chick, and you've got the guy that she has that week, that month, whatever, that like gets to sleep with her. Whether it's she did a little drawing or whatever to get her, like to allow him, or he's legitimately like some alpha that she will just let like do all sorts of shit to her or whatever.
Right.
And then it's almost like she has this hierarchy. She's got like the alpha man that gets to fuck her.
Yeah.
And then like different levels of men sort of below her that are all like buying her shit.
Yeah.
That's like doing her bidding, creating her fake accounts, putting her stuff out there, fucking, giving her all the attention that she wants by, giving her replies and all the stuff she's posting.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, Jesus fucking Christ. And me just dating a couple of chicks at the same time
is a problem.
Is a problem. That's what I was kind of getting at. Was like, you're sitting here like, oh no, I wouldn't date a guy if he did this. Yeah, right, yeah. But you guys are like way more layered. Like you guys have got a whole fucking like multi-level marketing pyramid scheme going on here over one chick. And men are like just sitting here like, well, I just want to do a small business of a couple girls, and it's like, oh, we're the bad guys.
Yeah, it's messed up. I'm getting more and more tired of it as I look at it. I was telling a friend of mine, it's like, dude, I'm like this close to going fucking Mgtow. I probably won't, but I'm so getting the frustration. And other
you understand though, like when you have those thoughts, you kind of realize, you kind of have like a moment where you kind of look outside yourself, like it sounds good, but I know Mgtow is just this sort of like the way I see it, and it's not a criticism of like anyone in particular, but it's like I see Mgtow as sort of quitting.
In a lot of ways, it is. And I mean that has been my response to that in the sense that no, just be better and all this other good stuff. Yes, that's true. But I get it. I fully understand that. Yeah, for some people, it's even if you do all of that, even though you're the best version of yourself, even though you've got your 6-pack and you're making all this kind of stuff, you still have to pull from a fucking pool of women that are shit. And that is
hashtag not all, but
right. But that is my issue. At the end of the day, I look at it like, there really is not, it doesn't really look like that would ever really pay off with a quality.
That's the thing is, the people who get to hear about them, like the people who have, who get to hear about men, basically like who've actually done a lot to like say, I've been through a lot of women, I've met a lot of women, it's just not working, and they're like, well, there's a quality woman, I know this one.
She's the idea, it's quality Snapchat,
The idea of a quality woman. And it's a bit grim. Like I told you, like, there's this chick that I find and she's, I'm a cam girl. You okay with that? I'm like, I don't care. that attitude is like, it's an adaptation that I have to take to basically realize, like, there are women out there, a lot of them, that are just not virgins, not, they've got all these whatever issues, and you just have to, like, find the one that's either willing to forsake a lot of the shitty stuff she does or forsake all the other stuff. Like, you could probably, and this is not like advice per se, but it's like, you could probably find a girl that, given the right kind of guy, will totally be with you, even though she might have been like a cam girl or has had a million guys through her or something.
You could.
Yes,
you could. I'm not. Yeah, of course that. Of course that's possible.
But you almost have to expect most girls you're going to come across have certain criteria that are true for them. Like,
I agree. That's the problem.
Had multiple partners, probably experimented with some sort of like selling of herself, whether it's, whored out one time or has a premium Snapchat or something. Because there's many.
You don't even have to go that far. I mean, there could be simple things like, I'm not particularly enamored with smoking, and a lot of these girls smoke. Or it could be the single mom issue that, we've discussed ad nauseum. Of course, their women are going to have disqualifying markers of all times.
There's a lot of women that have a lot of disqualifying markers that basically, for the longest time, the idea that is basically sold to men is these disqualifying markers are less than they are.
Right.
Like, they're like, there's like, and we've talked about this is because it's not that, like, it's not, feminism doesn't just hurt men, it also hurts other women.
Yeah, of course.
So the pressure to conform, the pressure to follow the trend for who were quality, actually, I know Rolla doesn't like the term quality women, but women who would be considered of better quality had to ruin themselves to fit in.
I get
whether
it.
It's whether
totally
they're at a party and they had to sleep with the Chad, or all the Chads, or have a train, or or they're it's easier to just do a premium Snapchat and not have a job.
Sure.
Well, not have a real job, and just all these things. It's like, if you're moderately attractive, you've got access to the internet and a smartphone.
Yes,
you do a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that in that respect. So it's just, there's so many non-great women that I've encountered in the last few months. It's kind of like I'm getting tired of it. Online and in person, it's kind of like, these people are shit. Like, yeah. As Brian is saying, sometimes the juice is not worth the squeeze. And I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely like centering in on myself more and more.
Yeah. So I'm looking at what Brian is saying in the chat. He says Mgtow is not quitting. Well, Mgtow is not quitting at life. I'll agree with you there. I think Mgtow is quitting at women.
No, I mean, it's understanding that the game is rigged against us and choosing not to play.
Yeah, right? That's why I'm saying is I think it's quitting women.
Right. I don't necessarily think that's because there are reasons to leave the game, right? I mean, it'd be like you put your hand on the fire and it burns. You pull your hand away. That's not necessarily quitting the fire. It's you don't want to get, your hand.
It's not. But I mean, it's like saying, I suck at Monopoly, so I'm just going to walk away from the game. You quit Monopoly.
No. The game is rigged against you, so it is impossible for you to win the game Monopoly. So there's no point in playing. That is the Mgtow argument. Not that I'm playing and I'm losing, hence I will quit. It's there's no win. You will always lose. Hence, it makes no sense to play the game. That's the Mgtow philosophy.
But it's not worth the playing squeeze. The game and quitting the game are different in their view?
Yeah, choosing not to play the game because it's rigged against you is not the same thing as quitting. Right? Quitting involves you play the game with the intentions of winning. Right? That there has to be a path to win. That's why you play the game, right? If three of us were playing Monopoly and I told you, well, Amos, no matter what, you're gonna lose. Would you still play the game?
what about Mgtow guys who have played to win and still lose and then quit?
I mean, again, there's a lot of nuance to it, and again, I mean, there's no way I'm going to be able to cover all of that.
Yeah, no, I know. There's a lot of nuance to it, and I can appreciate that to a degree.
Yeah.
I just think,
yeah. So it's not quitting, and this is where Rolo and Rich and stuff like that get it wrong. It's not quitting. It's making a calculated decision not to play the game. Ironically, it's the same argument that Rich has against marriage.
I mean, so yeah. Like Rich has Mgtow men in his men's group, like men who identify as that, and he's totally fine with it. He understands it.
Sure.
I personally just see it as like the way Rich tends to, get his message out there, the way he talks to men is kind of like, just because things are tougher doesn't mean you just step away. Like, you do better at it. Now, if there's a long period of time that you're just not getting laid, not getting women, you have monk mode. You have a time period where you focus entirely on yourself. You're not pursuing women.
Yes.
Is that Mgtow? To a degree, you could say so, but it's just more so. Of course, but without completely like adopting it to like, oh, I'm just not. It's a sense of like taking time away to then go back into it later on.
Right. I've seen that video.
Whereas Mgtow seems to be like the long term, like your whole life, you're just not going to play.
No, that's not it either, because there are Mgtow that date as well. They still enjoy the company of women. They're just not going to marry them, which is exactly what Rich is.
Right.
He is a Mgtow that dates women and who's not going to marry them. He has all of the philosophy. Everything is correct. He would never call himself that. But that, again, because it's a spectrum. And this is why I have issue with him, is because every time he picks at these things, he's like, don't you realize you're in that category? And
I think it's more so the it's what the label conjures up.
Yeah.
Which I understand too. Like, and I've told you this. I have friends that I've had to like have the conversation with. Like, I'll make a comment about women or whatever, and they'll just throw in the incel comment. Yeah. And I'm just like, and they would go like, they point it out, and I'd ask them like, do they know what it means? And they're like, no, I just like throwing it out there. And I've told you too, it's one of those weird things. For a time, it bothered me a lot more.
Sure.
And it's like, well, why would it bother you if it doesn't apply to you? Well, it's not that so much as whether it applies to me or not. It's just, I think a lot of people have just bad feelings or bad ideas about certain labels that when they're thrown at them, they kind of feel insecure because it's like they probably could identify with a lot of them.
Sure.
So it's more of a defense against their insecurities rather than a defense against the label itself. So it's like when people have called me an incel, I'm like, oh shit, like, I haven't had sex for a while, and I'm kind of having all these problems or whatever, and it's like, I'm trying to work on things, and it's like, and I've told people, it's like, I'd rather be called a Mgtow. I'd rather be called a misogynist, a sexist, or a Mgtow. Like, if you're calling me an incel, I conjure up these images of like, basically, in the basement with a sex doll, just kind of, women bad.
Yeah, I mean, it is a spectrum, though. There are men who date in Mgtow who just won't marry, so the pump and dumpers. But yeah,
and it's funny we talk about the spectrum when we talked about the male brain.
The male brain, yeah. There's a lot to it, and I do understand the connotations. I do understand what people are saying, and I do translate, what they mean. But it's ironic. There's so much overlap. It becomes almost a comedy to be like, wow, why are you against these people when you're practically one of them? So yeah, it's interesting.